have the new results of this investigation saying Red Bull was in breach.
Yes.
And Aston Martin.
Yes.
Procedural breach for Aston. Procedural for Red Bull. And a minor overspend to the tune of what could be $7 million on the budget cap.
Yeah.
Now, $7 million doesn't sound like a lot, and they're not saying it's $7 million. They're saying it's about 1.8 to 2 million.
They say about 5% over.
That's the window.
Yeah, that's the window.
Doesn't sound like a lot compared to 145 million. Yeah. But these guys all know that that's a new floor. That's an entirely new floor. That's
a lot of parts that you can put onto your car. You know, when a front wing on one of those things are 10 grand and rear wings 10 grand, a new floor is, you know, if you think about it and you add it up on 1.4 million, you can put a lot of new parts on that car for 1.4 million.
I listened to Mark and Brundle say some of these teams have B-spec cars that cost that much. That's the entire car, a B-spec. Like a lower tier team, for sure.
Like a Haas or something like that. Yeah, for sure.
But a B-spec car is the equivalent of what you've overspent.
Yeah.
And ladies and gentlemen, this is not this current season.
No, that was last season.
This is the 2021 season, which was already riddled with controversy at the end because it was fixed.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. It was fixed.
Yep. It was a bad judgment call on FIA in that situation.
But the guy who made it is gone.
Is gone.
It was fixed.
Yeah.
This thing stinks.
That's the whole thing about the last year, like, to bring this whole thing back up. That, like, it was just like, okay, we agree. He screwed up. He did everything. He's out of here. Really and truly, Max shouldn't have got that championship, but Max gets the championship. So there's that asterisk around Max. And then now this year, it's like, okay, well, you guys cheated last year. Sorry, breach of budget last year, which clearly went into some of the development for this year's car. And then now this year, they're way ahead of the whole field, and it's like, oh yeah,
30 seconds ahead of the nearest competitor.
So, like, is it really a minor breach if they're putting money into this year's car last year? You know what I mean? Like, all of these teams last year threw the 21 championship away just to develop their car for 2022. How is it that the team that one of the teams, Mercedes, put all their budget into last year's car to try to win that championship?
And they can't even sniff a P1 this year.
And then you look at Red Bull, that put just as much money as Mercedes last year into their car to be competitive, and they were swapping parts all the way up until the last race. So they were putting parts into their car until the last race. And then how are they still dominant?
Like in 2021, there was the whole like Brazil was the example where he touched the wing, and then all of a sudden it was this, and you're starting 25 grid places. Like, so there's that part. And you know, I think the big issue is the asterisk now is just like when you're typing on the computer, you can bold it. Yeah. The asterisk is bold. Now, right? Because now.
There's a lot going on
it was like, okay, decision was made by human to go racing, even though protocol was not followed. Yeah. They admitted that they didn't follow protocol after the fact.
And you can't blame Red Bull for that
They fired the guy. Yeah. I'm not blaming Red Bull for that one. Yeah. They fired the guy, but now they've overspent. And there's a whole political game. Yes. And what I mean, I don't mean like politics as in like who's running for president. I mean like buddy dinner after the race thing. Like, you can't tell me that that's not going on.
No, that's going on. And people say that all the time, where Horner is with the FIA half the time at dinners and stuff like that. So, you know, yes, Wolf is at those dinners sometimes too. Not saying that he's the only one doing it, but it is, you know, I don't think so. So we'll put it this way. Aston Martin is in the same breach as Red Bull.
Without the budget.
Without the budget. They're in the same breach as Red Bull. Are they both going to be the same punishment, you think?
Well,
because there's a lot of people that, so how this is all handled with this whole breach. So now we're back in, let's get into this. Yeah. So now we're back into this. So what they have to do is they have, what is it called? An acceptance breach, acceptance something, it's like an ABA. Yeah. It's where they accept that they did something wrong. Acceptance of the breach.
They can appeal it. Yes. So Red Bull, you're talking about. The team has the opportunity now to be like, yes, we violated.
Yes, we did it. Yes. Right? So if they go with the ABA and sign it and say, yes, we did this. Yes, we are under. They can't do anything. They have a penalty guideline. They will not lose championship points because it's only that minor one. The minor one, they can't lose anything. It's up to that 5%. They can't lose championship points. They can't lose driver points. They can get a massive fine, but they can lose testing time, they can lose aero all that time and stuff like that.
Time out. None of this matters. The car is 30 seconds ahead.
Yes, I know.
Okay? So that's the first thing. And the second thing is cheating is cheating.
Yes.
That's like somebody coming off track at most sport, let's say. They go through tech because they won the race.
Yeah.
And the carb fails.
Yeah.
It failed, but it only failed a little bit.
Yeah.
It only failed a little bit though.
Yeah.
Like it only failed 1 thou,
Yeah.
not 5 thou.
Yeah. Fail's a fail.
A fail is a fail.
Fail's a fail.
And that is the thing about motorsport compared to other sports. Like if you talk hockey, basketball, it's a little bit more clear. The ambiguity is clear, right? Like
an offside's an offside.
Right. And we even have stuff nowadays that can tell you definitively it's like there's more cameras in other sports nowadays,
now.
and they're overturning calls that they've made incorrectly.
Yeah.
We like the sport, we understand pushing the boundaries and that, but once you get caught, there has to be a serious reprimand. Because if they get away with it, what do you think Mercedes is going to do next year?
Oh, they only got fined? Okay, cool. I spent
I'll take
anyways.
What do you think a guy like Stroll is going to do next year? Are you kidding me? This guy will copy anybody's car.
Yeah,
he don't care. He done take the fine, and he's like, whatever.
He does not care. I totally agree, and I think it's just to the point now where the FIA's got to make a.
They have to make an example of Red Bull.
Exactly.
They have to. But they don't want to because something stinks.
Yes.
Right?
And they know, and we all know that something stinks because if you think about it, this doesn't make sense of how Red Bull can just destroy everyone. This just absolutely hands down destroy everyone for an entire season of the first year of a car when their budget last year was
they exceeded the budget because it was the first time in 7 years they had a chance to win a title.
Exactly.
And they were there.
Exactly.
And you put all your eggs in that basket.
Exactly.
You can look back at the pods we were doing at that time. We were saying, look, man, you have to do it, but you're going to sacrifice the development for next year, right?
And you saw exactly what we were talking about with Mercedes. And then all of a sudden Red Bull is like, they developed the car for the entire time and then they took off on the whole field. And it was like, how is this possible? You guys put so much money into last year and then all of a sudden you guys are like, going back and forth where a team like Haas, where they were 2 laps behind after lap 1, and then they go into this year and they're battling mid-pack. That shows that they sacrificed last year to develop this year's car.
Correct. Even Ferrari.
Yeah.
Even Ferrari.
Exactly. Same thing.
But it's the same thing with the FIA and them. We don't know what they were doing in 2019.
Exactly.
Right?
I agree.
They were there, and then all of a sudden it's like, the transparency is killing the sport.
Yes.
I saw a lot of people, motorsport people, not Netflix fans. And listen, we love the Netflix fans because Netflix has brought a new light to the sport, garnered new attention, new viewers, new races, more so. We love that part of it, but it has to be done correctly. I saw lifelong motorsport fans after that Michael Massey incident last year for the championship say they'll never watch it again.
Yeah.
And I woke up yesterday morning, read these articles, and I said, you know what? They got it right last year. Those people got it right. Yeah. You can't support something like this. No. This is like WWF. The new Liberty Media might as well be the WWE. It might as well be Vince McMahon running that now because now it's about clicks on Netflix. Yeah. It ain't about.
It's about getting the views and not about the sport. And our sport is amazing. And if we actually ran it properly, there would be one of the biggest sports in the world, which it is right now. But it'd be huge because there wouldn't be this. Like, if someone off the street that never watched an F1 race came to the last round, came to
Abu Dhabi round,
and they were like
Brazil onwards,
and they watched that, they were like, "What is this? Like, it's a clown show. Like, what do you mean that guy lost because of what's happening right now?" There's no, like you said, there's no definitive line of being like this is black and white. There's way too much gray area in this sport, and it's always been like that in karting all the way up to F1. There's always a gray area, and this shouldn't. They have to make an example of Red Bull, whether it be a massive fine, like a massive fine to the point where no one, they spent over say if they spent over $2 million, give them a $10 million fine.
But even that's not enough.
But you know what I mean? They got to.
I know what you mean, but they're back-to-back world champions. They'll make that money like this.
Yeah.
Right? And the thing about it is, like, look, I'll be honest, we're not going to get political and all that, whatever. But I think when you stand for something like Lewis did over the past 2 years with the George Floyd thing and being the only minority or, one of the only visible minorities within the structure and kind of sticking up for minorities all across the world and trying to get, people of color and women into the sport.
Yeah.
He put a target on his back.
Yeah, he did.
Right? And nobody can tell me different. And this is all anecdotal, but this is based off of my life, years of experience, and just kind of watching how the corporate world works. It's like, as soon as you do something like that, okay, now we need to find a new golden boy. And that is literally what it's looking like now.
Yeah.
It literally is looking like, look, we're going to do whatever
over.
we can to Singapore.
Yeah.
To make sure that those guys are...
They're
just
fine.
go back to Singapore with the penalty thing.
Yeah, that's what I don't get.
That's blatant.
Yeah, it is.
Now and then what goes through the clean comes out in the wash.
Yeah.
Right?